What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the side of the game where all pips matter. Hence the name, why we dripping in pips. This is the side of the trading game where we dripping pips every week, at least as much as we can. I'm Bud, like I said, I've been trading for about 5 years, maybe 5.5. Primarily UJ, but over some time I adapted, or should I say, I adopted GJ. So I kind of, I got so used to GJ that therefore I let go of UJ because GJ tend to moves in more pips. It moves a little bit more volatile. And like I said, I've been trading for about 5 years. And I really brought this up today because I wanted to show this trade I caught. I caught two trades actually. GJ this morning, which goes against my trading plan because I'm supposed to be an Asian session trader, but hey, I seen the setup this morning, so I took it. That along with gold, I adopted gold. I tried not to trade it as much because my trading plan basically states that GJ is my pair for Asian session, but it's just how it be sometimes. You lose control, but it worked out in my favor this time. I caught two trades, won both of them. I'm gonna show the setup. I'm gonna show my psychology doing the trade setup, but I'm not so yet too good at using the OBS studios. I downloaded it, but last night I was working on, how to use it and, getting familiar with it. But I'm just gonna turn my camera around and face it directly at my screen and show you my setup and maybe walk you through what I seen. All right, let's drip to it. All right, so first and foremost, I'm on GJ right now, right? So when I came to the charts, I already had everything marked up. I had basically on the daily and weekly time frame, I drew a channel. I drew a channel. And then I noticed, of course, we have this area that the market has rejected multiple times over and over again. I seen this on a daily time frame. Then I kind of took a step back and I noticed this may look something similar to a harmonic pattern, right? A harmonic pattern if you look at it. So what I did, I went to the weekly time frame. Went over here to the weekly time frame. And at this zone that I noticed we keep getting rejection from, I looked at the market structure. I seen like a double bottom. And then I seen that this wick kind of went quite a bit ways lower than this one, which in my mind shows some sort of liquidity sweep, which gave it that okay to come back up and break this level of structure here. So anyway, back to this pattern. Basically, I drew it from this point here to this low, back up this way. And when I look at this, I'm not sure which one it may be. I don't know if it's the cipher, the bat, godly, whichever one it is. I'm pretty much just now getting into the harmonic pattern, but this tends to falls right in the category of one of these harmonic patterns, right? So that was my second confluence that I looked at. The first being this level, this zone that price has rejected over and over again, right? So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to go back to the daily time frame. All right, so now I notice a pennant that this has been going in. It's making higher highs and higher lows in this pennant or flag, whatever you want to call it, right? Either way, higher highs, higher lows. All right, so I noticed that. And I seen, no, let me go back a bit more because actually I was looking at this. I seen the setup Sunday or Friday evening before market close. Yeah, Friday evening before market close. If I go to the hourly, I noticed once price got to my zone here, once it got to my zone, of course, I got markets on already. I don't like to have too much on it because I got quite a bit on my chart already, right? So I noticed once it got to the zone, it started making, like another wedge pattern, or some may say a pennant, wedge, whatever you want to call it, right? Same thing. I noticed it made this wedge pattern or this pennant. Where did I draw it from? Yeah, I noticed that it made that wedge pattern right there. So I told myself, okay, not only am I gonna wait for it to break out of this pattern from the trend line, which it did. But I was like, okay, chances are if it hit this last level of resistance, now support, you risk the chance of price reversing again. So I said, okay, not only am I gonna wait for it to break out of this pennant, I'm gonna of course wait for it to break and retest below this level of now should act as resistance once it break below. So, and I did just that. And if you really take a step back and look at it, I seen the head and shoulders pattern. That was like my third or fourth, whatever I'm at now, third, fourth level of confluence, right? So if I draw this here, right shoulder or left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder. Head and shoulder, right? And this wasn't even the right tool to draw. Wasn't even the right tool to draw it with. First of all, let's be clear on that. But yeah, it made a head and shoulders pattern. I noticed that. So once price came back, I entered on the 15 though. Once price came back, it broke out of the pennant. Came back and gave a retest to the zone, creating that right shoulder. And right as soon as it did that, it gave me a rejection candle. Right, rather. Then I entered on that bad boy, right? And I was like, okay, let me give it a bit more breathing room because I'm intraday now. Intraday, I'm kind of getting away from the scalping because if I win a trade too fast, I'll be, more likely to try to go in and get another trade. So maybe if I hold the trades longer, to kind of help with my, control myself. So I put my stop loss above this level, because that acted as my right shoulder. And I took it on down to this level here. Why did I take it to this level? Because I noticed over and over again market rejected this level too. So I'm like, okay, let me go on and take it down to this level, right? Which I did, but that wasn't the one I caught today. We're gonna forget about this one, right? And as market continued, it made a little bit market structure on the way down. Highs, lows, lower high, lower low, things of that nature. So I was like, okay, let me draw this trend line, which I did. Drew the trend line. I waited for price to break this trend line, come back and retest it. Also on the lower time frame is a level of resistance or now support on this side, which price rejected. So like, okay, once this candle closed, I'm gonna get in there, right? And I did. And as you stated here, I was at the barbershop at the time, so I was like, hey, I couldn't focus, so I ended up getting out of the trade right here. And as soon as I got out, of course, what the market usually do, run and take profit. But hey, I'm gonna count that one anyway. It wasn't lost. I won it. So hey. But that's GJ. Let's get over here on gold. I may get rid of gold. I mean, whichever. I don't know, man. I kind of like the idea of doing just one because it'll help, force you to be patient, right? Yeah, I missed this trade right here. This is the one I really wanted. That's why it's marked up, right? So, on gold this morning, I seen on the hourly time frame we had this level of resistance. It's a long wick. So I like, okay, let me draw this wick or draw this zone from this wick on over. And once price get to this, all right. So what I did, I went over to the 5-minute time frame. Went over to the 5-minute time frame. All right, I got a trend line. I threw up a trend line. I said, okay, if price can break this trend line, of course, break this level of structure. And even say, for example, it did not break this level of structure. Even if it broke this trend line, came back up and retested, of course, again, creating another head and shoulders pattern as it did. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, as it did. So I had to have it break the trend line, of course, break below, come back and retest, act as resistance, give me a confirmation candle, which I entered on. Took that bad boy down again. What was this? Like 123 points on this one. So I actually like this one a bit better. I feel like this was a bit more smooth. I like the risk to reward better on this one. And I drew this line here. I drew this level of support or key level right here because this is why I wanted to bring my stops to even. And another thing I'm working on is trying to hold them a bit longer before taking partials and putting my stops to even. I mean, I'm letting the trade run, let it breathe first. But yeah, it was like it dropped. When it hit my take profit, it hit dead on it, and then it went back up. But yeah, that's all I pretty much did for the day. And I'm gonna make sure I don't trade Asian sessions since I already had two victories this morning. So hey, that's basically what all went down today. So I guess this is it for now. Maybe I see your next trade setup, or I may just pull up to the charts every day and just show what I'm looking at. If I can find a trade or not, whether I do or not, I may or may not record. I don't know. I may make it to where only if I take any trades, whether I win or lose. And that's when the video go come explaining what I did, what I saw, psychology, and everything in between. But I guess see y'all next time. Drip to y'all later.